You know, when I die, when I get to heaven, the only thing I'm going to ask God is, who are those guys in the park?
This is an amusing reference to a 1975 UFO landing in North Bergen, New Jersey. 73-year-old George Obarski was driving home around 2:30 a.m. on the 12th of January 1975 and took a shortcut through North Hudson Park. His car radio begins emitting static just as a disc-shaped object, like a fat pancake, landed some 100 feet beyond him. Several occupants then emerged to collect samples of the grass and soil, re-entered, and then the craft departed at an unbelievable rate of speed. He described the human-like creatures as small, about 4 feet tall, and dressed in some type of coveralls. He soon reports the incident to his son Frank F. Obarski, who advised in 1975 not to speak of it to others. 10 months go by, and George tells a customer, who gets in touch with qualified UFO researchers who begin to investigate.
I was just speaking to the doorman here.
Oh, really? The doorman. And pray tell, what did the doorman say?
Bud Hopkins tried to corroborate George Obarski's story with other witnesses, including a doorman who worked at the Stonehenge apartment building across the street from the park.
I realized it was a big apartment building there, so I spent weeks trying to locate the doorman. I called him, and I remember the adrenaline rushing when this man said, "I will never forget it. This flying saucer came down and landed in the park," and I watched the thing come down. Then he started describing what it looked like, and it was an identical description to George.
Look, there's a spaceship. That is so cool.
After writing about Obarski's story in the Village Voice newspaper, Bud Hopkins kept looking for other possible witnesses.
One family came to light afterwards. They were living about 5 blocks away, seeing this object coming down the street, maybe 40 feet up, slanted. And they described it as if it was looking in their windows. And even though the woman in the family was ill, she ran outside in her nightgown, bare feet, and the father and the children ran out, and they followed this thing down the street.
A North Bergen schoolteacher, Ann Karlovich, says she listened skeptically as her daughters described the telltale evidence in the park on the day after the alleged incident.
Back in 1975, we had heard about this incident, that there was a flying saucer in the park. So my daughter and her friends went down to the park to see what was going on, and they all came running back saying they saw rings and burn marks in the grass in the field down near the softball field. And they told me the whole story about broken windows, that the Stonehenge had a large glass facade and it was broken by a beam of light that hit it. The kids were awfully excited about it.
Frank Obarski also went to the site with his father. He knew him as a practical man, so it was difficult for him to understand why his dad held to such a seemingly irrational story.
He didn't show much interest in things that couldn't be proved or disproved, or that didn't apply to everyday life. And this was one of those categories that he felt didn't apply to everyday life. So I had a lot of trouble reconciling my knowledge of my father with this story he was telling me.
He said, you know, I've lived a long life as honorably and truthfully as I was able to. And he said, a man doesn't do that for over 70 years and then throw it all away by making up some foolishness.
The North Bergen area had a history of UFO claims prior to Obarski's alleged alien sighting, and the reports are still coming in.
The event is memorialized with the currently erected signage, and the reported sampling of the soil supports the channel's assertion of UAP monitoring of human errors with industrial, energy, and chemical waste.